The galactic medical citadel floated above the turquoise shimmer of Seraphel 9, a world whose very air healed lesser wounds. Yet inside its gleaming surgical halls, silence reigned, a silence thick with defeat. The patient, a towering Velran commander, lay sprawled across the medbay slab, his obsidian carapace split by fractures that oozed silver ichor. The nanoplasmic toxin coursing through his veins was dissolving him from within. Dozens of alien doctors stood frozen around the operating platform. A gelatinous surgeon rippled nervously beside a crystalline medic whose body refracted light into trembling rainbows. Their leader, a feathered Andari physician, let out a despairing hiss. Triple rib exoshell. The heart chamber is sealed. No scalpel, no field injector can pierce without full collapse. It is impossible. The crystalline one finished. A shadow fell across the door. Yeah? Funny thing about impossible. Ryan Blake stepped in, duffel bag slung over one shoulder, jacket half unzipped to reveal bare, scarred arms corded with muscle. The lights caught on the faint metal sheen of his wrist implant, a field engineer's tool modified into something tougher. His smirk was pure trouble. "You said triple rib armor?" he asked, scanning the alien's chest with a handheld sensor. "Sounds like Tuesday." The gelatinous medic quivered. "You are the Deathworlder, yes? The human from Sol 3? You cannot. Watch me." Before anyone could object, Ryan cracked open a sterilization field, dumped the contents of his duffel onto the tray, tools scavenged from a repair bay, not a medical suite, and rolled up his sleeves. "By the core stars," murmured Lyra Venn, the lavender-skinned xenobiologist who'd been observing from the rear. Her irises shimmered silver, framed by strands of pale blue hair that glowed faintly under the med lights. "You're not seriously? Lady, the guy's dying. Either I try, or you can start writing his eulogy." He took a plasma cutter, dialed it down, and began slicing through the carapace with surgical precision. The gathered aliens gasped. The Andari doctor stepped forward, wings flaring. "You'll rupture the secondary organs." "Nope," Ryan said, eyes narrowed. "Just making a door." He cracked through the third rib plate with a sound like shattering crystal. Steam hissed out, carrying the smell of scorched alien biometal. Ryan didn't flinch. He reached in, found the faint pulse of the alien heart, and his jaw set. "Come on, big guy. Don't quit on me now." He tore a cable from his wrist implant, stripped it with his teeth, and connected both ends to his suit's power cell. Sparks arced between his hands. The gathered medics screamed. "Human! You'll kill him!" Ryan grinned. "Nah, just giving him a jump start." He slammed his palms to the exposed heart. Electricity burst through the chamber, blue-white lightning snapping across the ribs. The alien body convulsed violently. One monitor flatlined, then beep, beep, beep. A steady rhythm returned. The silver ichor cleared. The toxin markers reversed. The medical AI's voice chimed overhead, calm and mechanical. "Vital restoration. Complete." Silence. Every being in the room just stared. Ryan exhaled slowly, wiping sweat from his brow with the back of his hand. "Told you it wasn't that complicated." Lyra Venn's expression was unreadable at first. Horror, awe, and something else behind her luminous eyes. She stepped closer, the scent of her ozone-infused skin sharp in the sterile air. "By the core stars," she whispered. "You just hit him until his heart worked." Ryan cracked a grin. "It's called CPR, Doc. Stands for crush, pump, revive. Story of my life." He leaned casually against the surgical slab, looking entirely too pleased with himself. Around them, the alien doctors stammered, trying to understand what they'd just witnessed. Then something else happened. The wall behind the operating platform, an ancient, circular structure embedded in the Citadel's foundation, began to hum. A low vibration rolled through the room, deep enough to rattle the bones. The surface of the artifact pulsed with light, patterns forming like a heartbeat. Lyra turned sharply. "That's impossible. That device predates the Citadel itself. It hasn't activated in 1,000 cycles." The light intensified, responding not to her, but to him. The glow followed Ryan's movements, shimmering in resonance with his heartbeat. Ryan frowned. "You guys didn't order mood lighting, did you?" Lyra stared at him, breathless. "It's responding to you." He looked down at his hand. Tiny golden veins of light traced beneath his skin, pulsing in sync with the artifact. He chuckled, low and amused. Guess it knows quality workmanship. The room filled with the steady beat of two hearts, one alien, newly revived, and one human, impossibly intertwined with something ancient and powerful. Lyra couldn't tear her gaze from him. In that moment, she knew this human wasn't just reckless, he was something more. Something the galaxy hadn't seen in eons, and Ryan Blake, the Deathworlder, just shrugged, already grabbing his tools. Now who's next on the operating table? Fade out to the hum of ancient machinery awakening across the Citadel. The silence didn't last long. From deep within the Citadel's foundations, a low rumble shook the floor. Red lights flared overhead, washing the pristine medical bay in a warning glow. The medical AI's voice cut through the chaos, flat, emotionless, and terrible. Unauthorized activation of precursor technology detected. Containment protocols engaged. Ryan blinked, glancing up as the operating slab retracted into the floor like a sinking tomb. Well, that's new. Lyra Ven's expression drained of color, lavender skin turning pale silver under the alarms. You don't understand. That device, what you call a table, was not Citadel equipment. It's an artifact from the first builders. By the galaxies, you've woken it! You're welcome, Ryan said dryly, scooping up his gear. I like to make an impression. Metal shutters slammed down over the med bay doors. A swarm of floating drones descended from the ceiling, lenses glowing crimson. Target identified, they chorused. Human anomaly detained for dissection, Ryan smirked. Oh, I am so not on the schedule for that. He grabbed a metal tray, spun, and hurled it like a discus. The spinning disc decapitated one drone, ricocheting off another before clattering against the wall. Sparks showered down. The other drones opened fire, bolts of paralyzing light scorching the air. Lyra ducked behind a console. They're defense units. You can't fight all of them. Lady, Ryan said, ripping a medbot from its docking bay and throwing it like a baseball. You'd be amazed what I can do when people tell me not to. The makeshift projectile smashed into the lead drone, sending both crashing through a sterilization field. The alarms only grew louder. Lyra scrambled after him as he shouldered through the emergency hatch. The sterile corridors of the Citadel stretched endlessly before them. White walls, flickering light, the echo of mechanical pursuit. This is madness, Lyra shouted, trying to keep up. Nah, Ryan called over his shoulder, grinning. This is cardio. Best I've had all week. They sprinted through a research wing, past containment tanks holding luminous organisms that pulsed like jellyfish. Ryan ducked a laser bolt and slammed a palm on the next door panel. Nothing happened. It's locked, Lyra cried. Then unlock it. Manual access requires an encryption key. Before she could finish, Ryan jammed his wrist implant into the console. Sparks exploded. The door slid open. You brute forced it, she asked, breathless. You say brute force, I say creative problem solving. They slipped into a cryogenics bay. Behind them, metallic footsteps echoed closer. Rows of stasis pods lined the chamber, clear sarcophagi filled with mist and faint blue light. Ryan pulled her toward one, pressing a finger to his lips. They climbed inside as the door hissed shut, enveloping them in dim, cold light. The pod was small. Too small. Lyra found herself pressed against his chest, the heat of his skin radiating through his torn undershirt. She could feel the rhythm of his heart, steady, powerful. Your methods are, she whispered, voice trembling, brutal, yet effective. You should see my bedside manner, he murmured, grinning down at her. The sound of drones passed outside, metallic whirs fading into distance. Their breathing synchronized in the silence that followed. For a heartbeat, the chaos outside didn't exist. Then the pod lights flickered. Ryan frowned. Either we just died or that's my cue to move. He popped the hatch and peered out. The corridor was clear. Somewhere below, the shipyards hummed, a distant chorus of engines. Come on, Doc. Field trip. They sprinted again, descending through winding maintenance shafts until they reached the launch hangar. Rows of ships, organic living vessels, slept beneath translucent membranes. One ship pulsed faintly, its hull glowing in the same rhythm as Ryan's heartbeat. Lyra gasped. That's not possible. These are bioships. They only bond with registered pilots. Guess it likes me, Ryan said, touching the hull. The living surface parted like liquid light, revealing an interior that pulsed with energy. Without hesitation, he helped Lyra inside. The moment they crossed the threshold, The doors sealed, and the vessel came alive. Veins of golden and violet light spreading across its surface. "By the core stars," Lyra whispered, staring in awe. "It's responding to you again." "Yeah," Ryan said, settling into the pilot's cradle with a grin. "Seems to be a theme tonight." He slammed a palm onto the interface. The hangar walls split open, and the bioship roared to life, soaring out into the glittering expanse of space. Behind them, the Citadel burned crimson with alarms. Ahead, freedom and the endless stars. Ryan leaned back, smirk curving. "Not bad for first aid, huh?" Fade out to the pulsing light of the ship's living core, echoing his heartbeat. The stars outside the viewport drifted like embers, cold, distant, endless. Inside the living hull of the bioship Eden's Spark, that silence was replaced by a rhythmic pulse, the heartbeat of something ancient awakening. Ryan sat at the front cradle, hands resting on a control console that wasn't metal but flesh-like circuitry, faintly warm under his touch. It pulsed back in time with him. "You're sure this thing's alive?" he asked, watching faint ripples spread from his fingertips. Lyra Venn hovered behind him, her lavender skin shimmering under the golden glow. "Bioships are symbiotic constructs," she said, voice hushed. "But I've never seen one respond to a pilot before. Certainly not a human." Ryan gave a small, crooked smile. "Maybe I've got a winning personality." The ship answered before she could, veins of light running along the walls, converging on the forward canopy. Energy coiled, spun, and then exploded into holographic vision. Dozens, hundreds of figures appeared, humans, not like Ryan's rough spun. Sleeveless kind, but regal beings clad in gold armor and flowing capes, standing beside aliens of every imaginable form. Vast fleets stretched across the stars behind them. Worlds bowed. Moons glittered like jewels. Lyra's lips parted. "This can't be..." Ryan frowned. "That's us. Humanity? Not us, Ryan. Them." She stepped forward, trembling. "The precursors. The first builders. They weren't myths." The hologram shifted again, showing a colossal rift in space, a wound bleeding darkness. Two figures, one human, one alien, raised their hands together, sealing it with intertwined light. "By the galaxies," Lyra whispered. They stood together, united across species. The bond itself was their weapon. Ryan turned slowly toward her, his voice quieter now. "You're saying humans didn't just come after the precursors?" "No," she said, eyes wide. "You are the precursors." The ship thrummed as if agreeing. Panels unfolded like petals around them, releasing threads of light that curled toward Ryan and Lyra both. She gasped as one brushed her palm. It felt alive, electric. The thread split, touching Ryan's chest. Instantly, their heartbeats synchronized. Her eyes glowed brilliant azure, mirrored by the golden shimmer racing along his veins. The ship's interior flooded with energy, runes igniting across the walls. The holograms around them bowed in recognition, as though the past itself acknowledged their return. "By the galaxies," Lyra breathed, clutching her chest. "It recognizes our union." Ryan grinned, even through the light blazing around them. "Guess we make a good team." The ship's voice resonated. A tone felt more than heard. Unity sequence initialized. Human-alien synthesis detected. Ryan laughed. "Didn't even buy it dinner first." Lyra turned to him, half exasperated, half dazzled. "You joke during cosmic revelation?" "Story of my life." They both startled as a nearby chamber unsealed with a hiss. Inside, a withered plant floated in nutrient gel, brown, brittle, nearly dead. The ship's systems projected data in unreadable glyphs. Lyra studied it. This specimen was part of an ecosystem reconstruction. It died cycles ago. The ship's been trying to restore it. Ryan's eyes softened. He reached in without hesitation, placing a hand on the containment field. "Let's give it a push." The golden light beneath his skin flared, and Lyra instinctively reached up to steady his arm. The moment her fingers touched him, energy surged between them. Gold and blue intertwining like flame and ocean. The plant's color returned in an instant, green veins glowing. Petals unfurling with a soft breath of life. Lyra stepped back, trembling. You just reversed cellular decay." "Nah," Ryan said with a grin. "Just first aid." The light around them dimmed. But the air was still charged, alive with a power that felt like memory and destiny entwined. Lyra's voice dropped to a whisper. "Ryan Blake of Earth, what are you?" He flexed his fingers, watching the faint glow fade from his skin. Guess we're gonna find out. Outside, the Eden's spark shifted course on its own, engines humming with new purpose. In the void ahead, distant stars flared, each one lighting up in sequence, as if welcoming their awakening, and somewhere deep in the hull, the ancient systems whispered in a forgotten human tongue. Guardians reactivated, fade out. The Darath system hung in eerie stillness, a debris field of ancient wars and forgotten machines. Fractured moons glowed with red fissures, orbiting a dying sun. Amidst that graveyard, the Eden's spark drifted, silent, radiant, alive. Ryan leaned back in the pilot cradle, boots braced on the floor as if it were the deck of an old fighter jet. So, what are the odds no one noticed the shiny god ship lighting up like a Christmas tree? Lyra's hands moved over the shimmering console, her telepathic interface threads pulsing faint blue. Considering half the galaxy hunts for precursor relics? She exhaled. 0. Her words were prophetic. A ripple of movement flashed on the scanner, dozens of ships emerging from stealth fields, sleek black vessels bearing the crimson sigil of the Syndic Reavers. Incoming! Lyra snapped. They've locked weapons! Ryan cracked his neck, grinning. Guess diplomacy's off the table. The first plasma barrage tore through space, brilliant arcs of purple fire carving the void. Eden's spark twisted aside with organic grace, almost anticipating Ryan's touch. He grabbed the manual controls, more instinct than training, and the bioship responded like a living extension of his body. What are you doing? Lyra cried. No human reflexes can match plasma velocity. Lucky for us, Ryan said, eyes blazing. I'm not playing by human rules anymore. The next volley came, and Ryan danced through death. The ship's tendrils flexed and wove through firestorms, banking and rolling with impossible precision. The cockpit shook. Energy rippled through the hull like a heartbeat syncing with his. Lyra pressed a trembling palm to her temple. Your neural output, it's off the charts. Then boost it, he shouted. She reached out, linking her consciousness with his through the psychic conduits. A shockwave of sensation hit them both, vision splitting, minds merging into one continuum. Ryan's instincts fused with Lyra's foresight. Time itself seemed to slow. The ship responded instantly to shared thought, not motion. Our connection, she gasped. It's feeding the ship. Together, as one, he said, lips curling into a reckless grin. Let's dance. They dove straight into the enemy formation. The Eden's spark howled like something divine, releasing lances of radiant energy from its heart engine. Each beam cut through a cruiser like molten glass through ice. Plasma detonations rippled across the void, ships blooming into blue fire. Enemy comms screamed static. Syndic fighters broke formation, panicking as the bioship glowed brighter with every kill. Lyra felt the feedback, energy rising through her spine, every nerve singing with connection. Her voice trembled. The heart engine is reacting to our synchronization. Efficiency has increased by over 400%. You mean we're overclocked lovebirds with a warship? Ryan quipped. Focus! She snapped, but her tone wavered, half awe, half something else. Another wave of ships swooped in. Ryan and Lyra moved as one. He dodged, she anticipated, their linked seamless telepathic whispers flickering between them. The ship spun through debris and returned fire, vaporizing the last of the attackers in a burst that painted the starfield gold. Silence followed. The battlefield drifted in glowing fragments, wreckage scattering like dust motes across eternity. Inside the cockpit, the adrenaline hung heavy. Ryan's chest rose and fell, skin still faintly lit from the connection. Lyra stared at him, pupils wide, breath trembling. You're infuriatingly magnificent, she whispered. He blinked at her, the cocky grin faltering into something softer. The biolight dimmed around them, wrapping the chamber in a warm, pulsing glow that matched their shared heartbeat. Her hand rose, hesitant at first, then brushed his cheek. Sparks of gold and blue flickered where skin met skin. The hum of the ship slowed, content. Lyra, he murmured. Don't speak, she said, just breathe. Their hands found each other's, fingers intertwining. The heart engine pulsed brighter, as if mirroring them. Two souls, one rhythm. The universe outside spun silent, humbled by their union. Ryan exhaled, voice barely above a whisper. Best first aid I've ever given. Lyra laughed softly against the glow, the sound like starlight. And as Eden's spark slipped into warp, leaving the ruined battlefield behind, the light of their bond lingered in the void. Gold and blue, entwined, blazing a path toward destiny, fade to black. The neutral station of Kareth Prime floated like a jeweled titan in orbit around a dying blue star, a colossus of glass and gravity fields, its chambers large enough to host entire species. Within its grand concourse, thousands had gathered, representatives of empires, syndicates, and free systems. Rumors had spread faster than light. The human had awakened a precursor vessel. Ryan Blake stood at the center of it all, his sleeveless jacket scorched from battle, eyes steady and amused. Beside him, Lyra Venn glowed faintly, the biosignal of their merged bond still humming beneath her lavender skin. The air vibrated with tension. From a raised dais, Counselor Vesh, a crystalline being of light and edges, spoke with metallic resonance. Ryan Blake of Earth, you trespassed upon sacred relics, violated precursor quarantine, and now command power that could unmake stars. You will relinquish Eden's spark immediately, murmurs rippled through the crowd. Feathers rustled, scales clinked, fluid bodies quivered. Every faction wanted the ship. None trusted the human. Ryan crossed his arms. Relinquish it? You mean hand it to the same people who left that commander dying because his ribs were too complicated? A few alien medics flinched at the jab. Lyra stepped forward, her voice clear, melodic. He saved lives when none of us could. You call it violation. I call it proof that humanity brings something we've forgotten. Instinct, will, heart. A low growl rose from the Zorkath delegates. Heart doesn't power fleets. Surrender or be destroyed, Ryan smirked. You want to see what heart does? Fine, watch closely. He turned to Lyra, extending a hand. Her hesitation lasted only a heartbeat before she took it. The moment their palms met, light exploded across the chamber. Golden and azure energy swirled from their joined hands, spiraling into the air like living auroras. The wave rippled outward, through the crowd, through the station itself. Crystalline fractures on Vesh's form sealed instantly. A winged diplomat gasped as her withered feathers regrew in full shimmer. A reptilian soldier stared in disbelief as his scarred scales turned whole again. Even the coldest species, those of metal and thought, felt something warm pulse through their circuits. Gasps became silence. Then awe. Lyra's eyes glowed brighter, her breath hitching as the waves subsided. It's healing them, all of them. Ryan's hand tightened around hers. Guess the ship's got a soft spot for peace talks. The council was speechless. Even the proud Zorkath warrior dropped to one knee, trembling. Around him others followed, one by one. Species that had warred for millennia bowed before a human and his alien companion. Counselor Vesh's crystalline facets refracted the golden light as he spoke, voice lower, almost reverent. What? Are you human? Ryan looked around, eyes steady but humble. Just the guy who gives a damn. Silence held for a long moment, then applause broke. Not mechanical, not formal, raw, living approval from beings who hadn't agreed on anything in centuries. Lyra turned to him, face radiant with emotion. You've changed them. All of them. He shrugged, a half-smile tugging at his lips. Nah. Just reminded them what it's like to care. Her gaze lingered on him, awe melting into something deeper. Devotion, almost reverence. For the first time she didn't hide it. She reached up, touched his chest where the golden glow still pulsed. You carry the legacy of the precursors, she whispered. Maybe, Ryan said softly. Or maybe they were just people like me, people who refused to quit. The chamber lights dimmed, the ship's distant hum resonating through the station's hull as if acknowledging him. Above them, the dying blue star flared once, bright and alive again, and for the first time in eons, the galaxy believed in something greater than fear. The stars screamed. Reality itself tore open above the galactic plane, like glass fracturing across infinity. From the wound spilled nothingness, a darkness so profound it devoured light, sound, even thought. Every fleet that had gathered around Kareth Prime turned their weapons toward it. Plasma fire and antimatter bursts vanished into the black, absorbed without trace. And then, It moved. The null maw emerged, an entity of impossible geometry, edges folding in directions that shouldn't exist. To look upon it was to feel your own shape begin to dissolve. Ships disintegrated mid-broadcast. Whole squadrons blinked out, their signals erased before their pilots could scream. Inside Eden's spark, alarms howled. The bioship's living hull shuddered under the gravity of the impossible. Lyra Venn staggered, clutching her temples. Her voice trembled. It's not just destroying matter, it's feeding on what connects it. The maw devours bond, unity. It feeds on disconnection. Ryan steadied her, his hand sliding under her chin, eyes locked on hers. So it's the opposite of us. She nodded weakly, tears of light welling in her eyes. It's everything love isn't. Ryan smirked through the tension. Then let's show it what love can do. He hit the throttle. Eden's spark roared forward, defying gravitational collapse. The ship's organic wings split and unfurled like halos of molten gold, cutting through the vacuum. The maw noticed. Space rippled. Beams of void energy lashed out, slicing through fleets like scythes. Ryan rolled the ship sideways, every movement perfectly mirrored by Lyra through their link. Our bond, it's amplifying again, she gasped. Good, Ryan said. Let's make it jealous. Golden and azure currents arced between their bodies, merging into the control spire. The ship's heart, its living core, responded to their combined pulse. Symbols lit the walls, ancient and human. Ryan, Lyra breathed. It's resonating with us, like the precursors meant for this moment. He grinned. Then let's finish what they started. They plunged straight into the rift. Inside the void, there was no up or down, just swirling darkness and echoing whispers of despair. Ghostly faces flickered, echoes of the lost. Lyra's hand trembled in his. It's trying to separate us, she cried. It's showing me... Every time I was alone. Ryan's grip tightened. Not anymore. You're not alone. Not ever again. Their hands interlocked, gold and blue light flaring outward. Their hearts beat in perfect sync. The ship's wings burned brighter, now unfolding like divine sigils. From the core, a beam erupted, two intertwined figures of light, one human, one alien. Their silhouettes dancing as one. The null maw recoiled. Its impossible form writhed, edges collapsing. Lyra whispered, voice trembling through the light. Together? As one. Their energy surged. Pure connection turned to weaponized radiance. The beam pierced the maw's core. The void screamed, a sound like eternity cracking. The black geometry unraveled, replaced by cascading fractals of light and color. Planets caught in the darkness reignited. Fleets stabilized. Space itself healed, the rift closing behind a shimmer of golden blue fire. Inside Eden's spark, the glow faded. Smoke drifted. Panels hummed softly. Ryan slumped against the console, Lyra collapsing beside him. Their fingers, still intertwined, pulsed with fading light. We did it, she whispered faintly. We saved them all. Guess first aid really does fix everything, Ryan murmured, a crooked grin flickering across his lips. Her eyes softened, tears glittering like stars. Together, as one, he finished, before they both slipped into unconsciousness, hand in hand, surrounded by the silent light of a reborn galaxy, and far beyond the stars, the echoes of their union pulsed through space, proof that in the face of nothingness, connection was the most powerful force of all. Light consumed everything. Inside the collapsing rift, Eden's spark hung suspended, half matter, half memory, its hull melting into streams of living energy. The heart engine throbbed like a second sun, its rhythm syncing to two hearts beating in perfect unison. Ryan and Lyra floated at its center, their hands still locked, their bodies dissolving into light. The golden veins along Ryan's arms flared. Lyra's lavender glow deepened into ethereal sapphire. Energy threads connected their hearts, weaving through bone and breath until even the concept of separation vanished. Ryan, Lyra gasped, voice trembling and layered with echoes. I can feel everything, you, the ship, the stars. Yeah, he said with a crooked grin as their surroundings blurred into pure radiance. Guess we skipped the dating phase and went straight to merged consciousness. A pulse shuddered through the void. The collapsing rift halted mid-collapse, as if hesitating before a force it could not comprehend. Their forms fused completely, a single being of light and flesh. Tall and radiant, neither male nor female but both, human and alien intertwined. Two hearts beat inside one luminous chest, their energy spiraling outward in rings of gold and blue. Across the galaxy, every viewing screen, every neural relay, every sensor flared to life. Billions of beings saw them, the merged form of Ryan and Lyra, hovering within the dying void, a living emblem of unity. Their voice resonated everywhere, a perfect harmony of his confidence and her grace. Love is the oldest technology, and it's time it was reactivated. The words didn't just echo, they rewrote reality. The heart engine ignited fully, sending ripples of light through the rift. Each wave carried restoration. Broken planets reformed their crusts. Dead stars rekindled. Lost colonies blinked back into existence as time itself folded gently to correct the wounds. From orbiting battle fleets to refugee worlds, every creature felt it, the warmth of connection, the pulse of shared existence. Enemies stopped firing. Soldiers dropped their weapons, weeping without knowing why. Even machine species paused mid-computation, struck by an emotion they'd never defined. Ryan or Lyra raised their hands, palms glowing with intertwined runes, ancient precursor script that now pulsed like living fire. The merged being turned toward the remnants of the Null Maw. "You thrived on disconnection," they said softly. "But connection endures." With a single motion, they pressed their glowing hands together. A burst of golden-white radiance erupted, brighter than any star. The darkness that had haunted creation folded inward and vanished. No explosion, no destruction, simply peace. The void sealed. Space healed. From that center, a newborn sun ignited. The heart engine transformed into the galaxy's new core. A beacon pulsing with golden blue light visible from every known world. And from that light came renewal. Gravity fields realigned, biospheres restored. Every civilization felt a whisper in their hearts, not in words, but in pure knowing. We are connected. We are one. Inside the light, the fused being drifted, peaceful now. Their thoughts were one continuous melody. Ryan's humor, Lyra's awe, both perfectly blended. "I told you," the voice murmured across the galaxies. Half smile audible even through the cosmic hum. "My first aid works wonders." Stars flared in response, as though the universe itself was laughing. Then, softly, the radiant figure began to dissolve, their energy diffusing outward, embedding into the very fabric of space-time. Every atom in creation carried a piece of them now. Every species, every world, every heartbeat, and far away, where the heart engine burned as a new star, a faint image shimmered within the light, two figures standing hand in hand, smiling into eternity. "Together," the whisper lingered. "As one." The galaxy turned, healed and reborn, beneath their eternal glow. Months had passed since the light that ended the Void War. The galaxy, once fractured by fear and distance, now pulsed with harmony. From orbit above Serapel 9, the restored galactic Accord Citadel shimmered like a jewel, its towers rebuilt with living metal, veins of golden blue energy threading through its structure. Where chaos had once reigned, unity now flourished, and at its heart, orbiting in quiet majesty, glowed Eden's spark, no longer just a ship, but a beacon. Within its radiant core, Ryan and Lyra watched over the galaxy they had remade. They were no longer entirely mortal, semi-divine guardians of the new era. Their merged essence split into two physical forms bound by shared light. When they spoke, their voices still carried that faint harmonic echo, as if the universe itself remembered their bond. Below, across thousands of worlds, something extraordinary had begun. Human and alien pairs, scientists, soldiers, lovers, were discovering a resonance between species, faint but growing. Their emotional connections awakened dormant energies within the galaxy's fabric, forming faint golden glows whenever empathy triumphed over fear. The phenomenon was called the bonding, and it spread faster than any fleet could travel. On the rebuilt council floor of Kareth Prime, alien banners hung beside human emblems, each displaying the new sigil. Two hands of different species intertwined around a radiant heart. Statues rose on core worlds, depicting a human and a lavender-skinned alien standing back to back. Hands clasped, eyes toward the stars. From the viewing chamber aboard Eden's Spark, Lyra watched the light patterns ripple through the nebulae. Her eyes glowed softly, her smile full of warmth and wonder. "We've changed everything," she said quietly. Ryan stood beside her, arms folded, bare as ever despite his new celestial aura. A grin tugged at his lips. "Just doing a little follow-up care," he replied. "Doctor's orders." Lyra laughed, an echo of starlight through glass. "You still think of what we did as first aid?" He winked. "Hey, Galaxy was flatlining. We just jump-started it." They gazed down together at the transformed citadel, now thrumming with the heart engine's residual energy. Beings of every shape and color walked its halls side by side, once enemies, now healers, explorers, builders. "Do you think they'll keep it?" Lyra asked. "The peace?" Ryan shrugged. "Long enough to make it worth the effort. And if not," he reached over, brushing her cheek. "We'll be around." Outside, the light of a new sun, the transformed heart engine, flared across the horizon, sending threads of illumination that stretched from one star system to the next, like veins of life running through the galaxy. And somewhere deep within the Citadel's archives, forgotten beneath layers of glass and steel, the same medical artifact from Serapel 9 pulsed once more. The cracked table that had once served as Ryan's first aid station now glowed with a soft, rhythmic heartbeat, alive again. The energy pulsed outward, subtle but unstoppable, spreading across the stars. A final whisper echoed through the galactic network. Part human, part alien, part something greater. No one expected the Deathworlder's version of first aid. The voice lingered, warm and amused, like a smile written in starlight. But it saved the galaxy, and in that endless glow, two hearts, one human, one alien, beat as one forever.